So, good morning and welcome, whether you're watching live or on replay. You know what I'm going to ask this morning? If you can actually turn your camera on. We have had a couple of comments in the last couple of months of why can't I see everyone? Even if you're in your pajamas, I'm in my gym gear because after this, go for a walk. Usually I start with a walk and then do my things. But I'd like on. That would be amazing because it makes it a community. So this morning, and I thank you so much for doing so and being part of the community. It makes us feel like we're all together rather than just secretly behind. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just going to share again what this week's masterclass lesson is. And it's something like, Jean, you tell us not to think. You tell us to do everything but think. This is as you think in the heart, so you are and be. So I'll say it again, as you think in the heart, so you are and be. And that's exactly what I want you to do is the practice of this week is thinking in the heart. Because if I'm my heart space and I'm thinking that way, is not in the monkey mind. Now, part of Mystery School was to evolve from the 2D paradigm and 3D paradigm, which we're still in 3D now, of the thinking of the ego mind, which is very solar plex and like, oh my gosh, do I look good in this dress? Do I look fat? All those sort of stories that come up. And when we're thinking in the heart space, like as though you're in your heart or heart chakra or both, it's a total different thinking. And in fact, we actually need to think as well. Because the right brain with the creative and the left brain thinking, they need to be married together. That was one of the things from Atlantis. And those who've done module 3 of medical intuitive training, it's the gold thread of bringing the brain for whole brain synchronization. Because when you do that, that's when magic happens. That's why I had the song, You Can Do Magic, before we started recording. So if I think in the heart, then I'm actually working from full awareness and consciousness. And what I decided this morning to do was actually share from medical intuition the body consciousness of the heart space so that you're aware. How do I think from the heart? Well, if I'm in heart space, that beautiful organ of the heart, if I think heart, then I'm thinking awareness, awareness of myself, awareness of others, awareness of the planet, the animals, the retrogrades. I'm fully aware and conscious of everything. If I'm thinking from the heart, I'm thinking love of self. Notice that's first. Thinking love of others. Now, there's lots of songs and literature and books and teachings about you must love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you can't love others. Well, that's the thing. For what reason we can love others but not ourselves? So if I'm thinking from the heart, I'm going to think of love of me first. But I got to remember, what was love of me first? Think about it. And if I'm in my heart thinking about what's love of self and me, oh yeah, boundaries, which is held in the organ of the heart, is thinking eat well, drink more water, exercise. Thinking from the heart is a balance. Now, balance is maybe, like me, I work long hours, but then I have long hours off. Balance isn't, I've got to have 2 hours here and 2 hours there and 2 hours there and 2 hours. It just doesn't happen in the fluidity of the fifth dimension at all. You just flow into things. And your spleen, by the way, your body's getting healing, as I say, these body parts. Your spleen is about the rhythm of life and going with the flow, and so is your kidneys and your bladder. And so if I'm thinking with the heart, I know to get balance in my life. Instead of work, 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 play, or instead of play, 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 let's do some work or whatever it is. If I'm thinking from the heart, I have forgiveness. And forgiveness is knowing that situation, thing, experience, not experiment. Well, it could be experiment. Experience happened, but I'm not going to regurgitate and recycle that pain. I'm just going to go, okay, that was painful. I choose to move on. If I'm thinking from the heart, I've got freedom of the mind, total freedom. total freedom. Thinking from the heart. I'll give you an example. Say it all the time. It always works out. It just always works out. So I'll give you an example. Freedom, thinking from the heart. I know everything is possible and it always works out. And I was having challenges with my group that go to Egypt, not with the group that go to Egypt, but with that group. I couldn't get the itinerary to them because the file was too big to put it in the Facebook chat, get it on WhatsApp, couldn't email it to. It was like, think from the heart, think from the heart. I know everything's possible. So then it was like I channeled, if people want to use that word, I don't. I connected with the star child personality. I worked out an IT way and I could do that, I could do that, I'll try that, I did, and I got it. Freedom, freedom of the mind. Thinking from the heart, as I mentioned, is boundaries. And a boundary is, what is it energetically? It's not protection. There is no need for protection. What is it energetically that I need to put here so that if people enter my play grid square, sacred geometry, that they know this is how I like to be treated or treat others. So an example might be, when you come into the house, can you take off your shoes? That might be a boundary. It's not a rule, it's a boundary. And a boundary, like a fence, says, oh, you're entering this space. I want you to be respectful of the way I live, which is awareness, love of self, balance, all those things. Thinking from the heart is a big, big, big one of respect. Respect of you, respect of others. And to respect means that they are worthy. And respect means listen. Respect means honor their point of view, their beliefs, even if you don't like it. It's like, I respect that. Even though you might think, load of collywobble, doesn't matter. Respect. Thinking from the heart is compassion. And one of the things, like I spoke at a group last night about medical intuition is the understanding of compassion. It is thinking from the heart because it's understanding no matter what anybody's been through, when they come for a session with me or the practitioners, or they're coming to a course, that compassion is when they share what's happened, what they've done, no judgment, love them. Compassion is understanding. So like when I worked in one of the Brisbane prisons, and some of the stories that those gentlemen said, I call them gentlemen, awareness, love of others, balance, forgiveness, freedom, boundaries, respect. When they shared some of the things they'd done or thought, I still had compassion. Hurt people hurt people. So part of medical intuition is have compassion for self and them. And if I'm thinking from the heart, I can only have compassion. If somebody's yelling at me, or they didn't open the door for me, or they slammed the door on my face, or they spoke rudely, they complained, or at least once a year someone Facebook messages me and will tell me how ugly I am to be on social media because I've got a crooked bent nose. It was broken by my dad when he hit me and I refused to get it fixed or anything. It's like, I have compassion for that person. If that's all they can do is like focus on my nose and not everything else, I have compassion for them. Thinking from the heart, there's joy and sadness. There's a duality because we live in 3D paradigm of duality, but it's joy. And then when I'm sad, maybe I watch, oh my gosh, I'm such a suki lala. When I watch a movie, because I have compassion and can relate to things, I'll watch a movie and something sad will happen there. I'll go, I can feel it. I have the compassion, I have the connection, the love of self, others. And then the last one, or second last, really, when I'm thinking from the heart, I have peace, smiling, peace. It's always working out. I don't know how it always works out. It just always works out. Peace, as I was able to get the itinerary to the updated itinerary to the group going to Egypt. Peace, oh my goodness me. And then I had compassion for me. I respected them so much. I had respect for me. And then it's love. Total, total love. If I'm thinking from the heart, if I'm thinking in the heart. Now, the next part of this awareness from Mystery School was all about, if I'm thinking in the heart, right in there. It's like you jump in and you go, just going to pop into my heart for a moment and think from that space. So you are, then you are all of that. It just gave me goosebumps every time I think about it. It's goosebumps. So you are, and then you be. You actually do it. It's actually a big concept, but so little, so simple, so effective. Because then you're in heart space and then you be of heart space. That's it. Then I want to share from those who've got the medical intuitive cards. This is my cranium. That's my card for today. But if you've got those, I'm going to share from the little book that comes with them. Heart. Loving yourself and others brings great awareness. It is knowing we are all one. So if I think in the heart, so you are and be, then I understand we're all one. That there's no difference, there's no separation, no isolation ever. It is knowing we're one. To be aware means being able to know the bigger picture and to live from compassion. If I think in the heart and I am, so you are and be, I am, then I will do and work from compassion. There is no right, no wrong. It's time to set boundaries and have your heart's desires. Simple, really simple. And so part of Mystery School was always about coming to 0 point, which was in the heart space. Come into that space, thinking from heart, not from the head. In actual fact, moving on from the monkey mind, moving on from the separation and the isolation. That was the mystery. But it really wasn't a mystery. When we commit to those simple things of compassion, love of self, awareness, say, oh. And then suddenly you become the truest, highest form of yourself. That loving, lovable, loved person. That's it. And then all these things around you seem to magically, mysteriously be amazing. Because if you think from your head, as Anthony Robbins says, in your head you're dead, as my client Joshua says, when you're in a heart, you're smart. When you think from your head, it's like, oh my gosh, now how many of you have been in monkey mind? Do that, how do I do that? It's not going to work out. Oh my gosh, I've been there. The more and more you practice being in your heart to think, oh my gosh, it's this peace, joy, compassion, love, and especially for yourself. Because we know how to do it for others, not for ourselves. Because we go into a separate mind. Now, I'm saying our mind's here, but it's not. The mind's everything and everywhere. And when we go into that separate mind, it's hard work. Life can feel really wobbly and really awful. But when you just plop it, so how can you do this? One of my things, those who've done module 5, is opening doors, is look for all the heart space things, heart shape. Now, guys, you'll see me wear heart sunglasses and a heart pendant. That's really important to me. Heart earrings, heart shapes, anywhere in the cut. And once you start looking, it's like everywhere. So when you're in that monkey mind, it's like, oh, and within like milliseconds, pop, you're back into thinking into heart. There it is. There it is. So those that have walked with me, you know, that I constantly stop and go, look, heart shape, heart shape, heart shape. Because that key secret from Mystery School is everywhere. There's heart shapes everywhere, reminding you, think here, just come into here. Then you are the love, lovable, loving, loved. Then you go and be it. And then once you drop into there, there's this sensation in your body, there's a vibration in your body that oozes out, it ripples out. You might not think you're doing anything different. And you're doing it already. When you smile at somebody, when you say thank you, those that have done the happy money module, arigato, thank you, che, whichever word, gracias, you're actually rippling that energy out. Then You're being the example of what's possible, and you're letting them have the opportunity to think from their heart as well. When you offer compassion to them, you're gifting them to drop in and think from their heart too. Those that have done medical intuition as practitioners, it's exactly what you're doing, is offering everyone through a session to think from the heart. It's not that hard. It's actually quite easy. Let's take a big breath right now. Breathe out. And you can imagine, you can be childlike and go, it's going to pop into my heart. Or you might have a code. You might do NLP every time you touch your skin. And I say to people, if you're going to do that and you're going to make an anchor point, don't make it every time I wear this jumper, because you might lose it, throw it out, whatever. Do your skin, because you're touching your skin all the time. Anchor it. Don't even do hair, because you might chop off your hair, lose your hair or whatever. Skin. Where the skin's good, acne, burnt, it's all skin, anchor it. Then I only think from the heart. Maybe an affirmation. I only think from the heart. As I said, it's actually quite easy. This is innately within you. This is nothing new. You're just remembering that was part of mystery school. Remember? Remember the core essence of who you are, because you are that love, lovable, loving, loved. So therefore, you always think from the heart. And then, because we're in the fifth dimensional paradigm, and always have been, people think it's coming. It's been coming for a long time. It's always been there. Freedom. And the 3D paradigm, which is the monkey mind. And look, I've even got the colors. Here's fifth dimension. Yeah, here's 3D dimension, the solar plexus. You're always in the both. It just takes milliseconds to drop back into think. And then you are, and then you be. Now, when you are it and you embrace it and you go and be it, you probably aren't even aware that people will say, change your hair, lost weight, you look good, because you look younger, thinner, taller, doing really well. They call it compliments, but it's actually your thinking in your heart. And so people are recognizing it already. And the more you practice, the more there's an unraveling of everything works out and no limitations. So when you go back to the recording, or if you're watching the recording, go back to the recording, go back through the list of the body consciousness, write it down, and practice this week, added to all the other lessons of Mystery School, practice being in the heart space. Just jump in, think from that space. And you can say, heart, I want you to tell me, think that way. I'm going to think from my heart. Just stop. Take a breath. Let yourself drop back in. And in fact, to actual fact, take 3 breaths. First is to settle yourself. Second, to drop into the now. And third, to be in the present is thinking from the heart space. And then you connect back to your true self, your truest, highest form. And then you go and be you. Simple, so simple, yet so profound and life-changing. Mystery School was like life skills, life tools, empowerment, but we never said it that way. It was just about raising consciousness and remembering. So what we're going to do right now, for those that haven't been here before, is we're going to do some sharing. It's called Share Your Golden Heart Moment. Not golden nugget. We don't want a golden nugget. I want the golden heart. And so I'll go around the Zoom room and ask you to share just a quick, like 30 seconds, or you're more than welcome to put it in the chat and then I can read it out so everyone learns, because it's not just about me, it's everyone's learning. What was your golden heart moment that you remembered or liked from today? So we'll go Lou, Cherie, and then Andrina. And if you can't unmute yourself, just the way that'd be amazing. You got it, Lou?
I have. Thanks, Jean. Good morning. I think my golden heart was the little reference you made to, I can't remember the person's name. Robbins was the surname.
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yep. And the bit where it says you're in your head, you're dead, and the other person who had said in your heart, you're smart.
My client, Joshua.
Yeah, it's actually, that in itself is quite profound.
Very. And it's full credit to them. Full credit to them very much.
Yep. But thank you for the delivery.
Pleasure. Pass it on. Thank you. Cherie.
I had never heard of anchor your thoughts and touch your skin. And that's pretty profound because I realized, yeah, you really start thinking it. And I've already done it this morning then since you said that. And I went, yeah, that's something I'm going to do daily. That's really great. Thank you.
Pleasure. It's a form of NLP. I didn't know NLP until I started life coach. I don't practice it. And they talked about it. And I thought, I've been doing it for years. To anchor something, sometimes they'll say have a rubber band, touch a watch or whatever. So every time, because they're all unconsciously touching something. Sometimes footballers will wear their specific socks or whatever, and they'll have a great game. And I just think, yeah, only one thing is your body. Skin, because it's the biggest organ in the body, so somewhere touching anchor is really easy. Andrina, welcome.
Hello, I finally made it. Miracles happen. Good evening. What was I gonna say? I forgot I'm feeling quite tired. I've done a lot of walking on the beach today, and so I was sort of thinking, like when you're on the plane, you put the mask on first before everybody else. So, and I always think, well, to be able to help people, you've got to be coming from here with your own heart full or your full tank, not half empty. So for me, it's like me being a full happy vessel, if you like, so that I can share when I meet other people.
Yeah, beautiful.
In a nutshell.
Thank you. Amazing. We'll go to iPhone, Kelly, Kim, and Leona.
Hi, Jean, it's Christine.
Good morning, Christine.
I just think there was so much in that you could spend a whole weekend talking about those content. So it's just a huge reminder to stay in your heart, not be offended when people aren't in their heart, and just move on from there. So thank you.
Pleasure, and thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I have to agree with Cherie and about anchoring. As soon as you said that, it was like a bit of a light bulb moment. I touch the middle of my palms all the time and remind myself that just don't be bothered by what others say, and remind myself to come back to me and focus on what I have to do and feel, and just get back in touch with myself. So yeah, that was my little golden nugget. Thank you.
Beautiful. Which brings me to Michael J. Fox. He said many years ago, and I think it should be taught in schools, what you think of me is none of my business. Really simple. Who is next? My screen jumps around, lovely, so I can't remember what's next.
Morning, everybody. It's Leona. I think my golden heart was compassion for self first.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Leona. Kim.
Morning, everyone. Mine was think from the heart and look for heart-shaped things. I'd forgotten about that, so it's a good reminder. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I'm just going to read Laverne's. My golden heart moment is seeing the list of symptoms when you live from the heart. When I get caught up in 3D emotions, I love that I can anchor myself to my skin, breathe, and get back into the present. Honestly, once you start it, just do it 3 times with the anchoring. I know this is not part of mystery school, but I'm going to share. Once you do it 3 times, this is medical intuition, not NLP. When you do it 3 times, And it might be just like that. And it could be very subtle because you might be walking along. Instead of doing like extraordinary, like I'm going to do this and this hand signal or whatever, and you're walking down the street, you should just echo like this, skin that every time, and make it an affirmation. Every time I touch my skin, I'm in my heart. It could be, and it's just little tiny, like whatever. It could be, or even, I remember one person said, what about if you're picking your nose, does that count? Yes, it counts because it's skin inside too. Like really, could be any skin. So who's next? Let's go to Lynn. Welcome, Andrew, and Monique. We might go to Andrew. I'm not sure if Lynn can unmute herself or right. Oh, yeah, you've done it, Lynn.
Can you hear me?
Yes, darling. Yes, yes.
Well, all of the above. Everything that everybody said was a moment for me, but I like what you said about thinking in your heart that everything always works out, which is true. That I know. So just the whole lot of it has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, my darling, and welcome.
Good morning. Yeah, I had two heart moments, and one was to, have something to remind you to be in the heart, and also just to have compassion for yourself and therefore others. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Mine was hurt people hurt people. So I think that was a good reminder that people don't necessarily intention do or say things that they're hurting themselves. So thank you, Dean.
My absolute pleasure, and thank you. And in that hurt people, I'll just come back to here. As you think in the heart, so you are and be. I think I'm going to make a really general statement. I know that I've hurt people, not intentionally. Sometimes we hurt people because we are hurt as well. And if we're thinking in the heart, we won't hurt people. We have the awareness. That awareness, as I said, in the body consciousness, the awareness of, if I say that might hurt. Now, one of the disease awarenesses of diabetes, for example, here the awareness is sugar makes us unconscious. I don't know about you, but if I ever have sugar, I think about sugar, I get a headache and I start to go and think unconsciously. And sometimes diabetes under medical intuition is unconscious thoughts, people not coping with change and then get anxiety, and they're hurting and they don't have the awareness of what they say might hurt other people. And so they can say very unconscious things that will hurt. Not that they're aware and they don't mean to do it. So please know, here's the compassion part of sometimes when they say something, it may hurt because they're hurting. Maybe not at you. Maybe someone else did something or said something. So yes. So remember, superpower, your heart. As you think in your heart, so you are and be. Really easy. That's this week's lesson for Mystery School. I hope you'll join me next week again, 6 a.m. And who knows what will happen. And thank you for all of your golden hearts. As you can see, it's not just me sharing, it's everyone. I love, love, love everyone sharing. So have the bestest week. Practice, practice, practice. And remember, you're already amazing. Thank you, body, because it is a gift. And I send you so, so much love to you. Look for all the hearts. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jean. Thank you.